Good morning, good day, good afternoon, everyone. I know we're starting a little later this morning. It seemed like I was having more technological issues than normal this morning. I guess the last few weeks I got used to using my phone, and today my computer had been working, and then it was like slower and slower and slower. So I'm noticing that even in myself, I'm feeling when I deal with technological issues first thing in the morning, I'm noticing some tenseness and um, frustration within my own body. So let's just take a moment and let's just give ourselves this time together to center ourselves, to focus together, to just really take the time to commune with God and divine, something outside of ourselves, something within us, the part of us that is bigger than who we are and that holds us. So take a moment to go ahead and close or lower your eyes wherever you're at. Get comfortable. So if you need to shift position in your chair, feel free to do that. If you're sitting in a chair, I invite you to put your feet flat on the floor and to go ahead and close or lower your eyes. Let's take 3 deep breaths together to bring us into our body, and remember that the breath is that breath of life. It was the first thing we took during one of those passages that we will talk about. You know, when we were all born, we each took a breath of life. So starting from empty, let's take a big breath in and let it out. Notice anywhere where you're tight. Maybe move your shoulders up and down some. Take another big breath in and let it out. And one more time. Maybe hold it at the top of the in-breath and let it out with a sigh. And just allow your breathing to return to its own natural rhythm. I invite you to just notice any place in your body where you might be feeling some tension. Send a little love that direction. Sometimes it helps to just kind of pat that area. And I invite you to journey with me as we reflect today on special passages, rites of passage, those milestones and things in our life, the big things, the small things that have defined us, that have been touchstones for us. As I mentioned earlier, we all had that moment of birth. We all had that moment of taking our first breath. And we will all have and share that moment of taking our last breath. And in between, each moment is filled with blessing. It may show up different ways, but it is filled with blessing when we look for it. And trust me, there are times it is harder to see than at other times. So I invite you to go back and look at what's your very first memory of something big that happened for you, some special rite of passage, or maybe just some significant moment that helped to shape who you are. Or maybe it was just a fun memory. I know at some point I learned to walk. I don't remember those first steps, but I do remember running and slipping in the rain and running into a door and how I was probably 3 or 4 and how some of the older girls helped me. And my dad had to come and pick me up from school and take me to the doctor because I did cut my face. Remembering kind of that first time with the doctor, and I even to this day remember thinking the doctor was a little bit of weird and a little bit of a jerk because I was hurting and he was trying to be funny for me and all I wanted to do was cry. So just reflect on what is your first memory, first thing. These things affect us. They're part of our life. And maybe move to the next thing that you might remember. And maybe it's a series of them. For me, the first day of school came to mind, and then all the different first days of school came to mind. Every year, my mom having us stand out there and take pictures of each one of us, and how important it was to figure out what you were wearing that first day. Do you remember the first time you were really conscious of your relationship with God? What that looked like? I remember it filling me with so much joy. I mean, my parents took me to church, but I remember when I felt God just all around me, and all I wanted to do was sing and dance. Do you remember what it felt like for you? That special time where you knew that God was with you. And for me, it was knowing that, just somehow knowing I was a part of God, God was a part of me, I was a child of God. This was awesome. And I was young enough that it was before dogma and people told me what I needed to do or not do, or how to act or not act, that there was just joy that bubbled up. I'd like you to take that particular thread and just follow it, your relationship with God through your life. How has it shifted and changed and, maybe had some rocky spots? And were there special moments, other moments within that were considered rites of passage for you, or special moments for you? Some of you may have had a more traditional upbringing. Some of you may have had a very eclectic upbringing. Mine happened to be very eclectic. Growing up in the Catholic Church, going to Assembly of God church camps, Baptist prayer meetings, all within the Christian vein, and then later in life being introduced to other ways, other faith traditions, understanding more about Judaism and Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism, and appreciating the value that all of those different paths to God bring and the richness in those paths. Just take this moment to commune, to just be with God, knowing that you are a divine, beloved child of God. That no matter what the day may look like today, whatever's on the agenda, whatever came yesterday, what might be coming down the road, you are not alone. God's presence is always with you. As I've shared and as you've seen over the last few weeks, I was on this epic road trip. Sometimes there were a lot of miles where it felt really quiet and really long, particularly at night. And I appreciated so much knowing that I was truly not alone. That God had my back, let me know when it was safe for me to stop, to sleep a few hours in a truck stop, and where it wasn't so safe, and being able to listen to that. I invite you over the rest of this week to just notice. Notice your connection to God. It is as close as your next in-breath or your next out-breath. And reflect on those special passages, those rites of passage in your life, and the ones coming up. Moving or recovering from illness, or maybe a big birthday, whatever it is. Be willing to see God in it. Because I can guarantee you that God is there when you look. It may be hard to find, but God is there. I'd like to just leave you with a little prayer. It's from one of the books that we're using for this series, Christ Beside Me, Christ Within Me. It's Celtic Blessings by Beth Richardson. And on the chapter for passages, special moments, it says, in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Spirit, the perfect three of power, the little drop of the Creator on your little forehead, beloved one, the little drop of the sun on your little forehead, beloved one, the little drop of the Spirit on your little forehead, beloved one, to aid you, to guard you, to shield you and to surround you. May your day be blessed. And thank you for taking this time with me today and for taking this time for you. Blessings.